So, the book of Revelation is all about the seven chakras. It mentions the number 7 55 times. The book of Revelation is about the seven chakras. So, when taken literally, it represents the exact number of souls that will ascend to God. In Kundalini Yoga, they teach that 7 chakras is a frequency of light that can easily get blocked by negative emotions and thoughts. So, if you add up all the petals, it'll equal up to 144, and then the crown chakra 144 times 1,000. So in the Bible, when they talk about 144,000, they're not talking about 144,000 people. That's stupid. They're talking about the 144,000 lotus petals of the chakra. And once you activate all of those by thinking correctly, you tap into a level of reality that is beyond human existence. This is taken from the initiation of the soul, the table of the seven chakras. So when we go through this text and we deal with words, we have to take it out of the physical and bring it back to the psychology. So it's going to be a point where I come to words, and I'm going to give you an example, connotation. So in the aspect of connotation, like words invoke additional feelings and thoughts. So what do I mean by that? A connotation is like if I told you to go get me food stamps. Go get me my food stamps. And you, using your mind, your hood ghetto mind, looking for my EBT card. And if you can't find my EBT card, you like, well, I don't see any food stamps. Ain't no food stamps here, bruh. And I'm like, I'm not talking about an EBT card. I'm talking about my postage stamps with hot dogs and bananas on it. Like, those are my food stamps that I wanted. See, I was talking about something, but you, in your mind, by the way you think, you weren't able to pick up on what I actually was saying because you so locked in to your way of thought. And so this is what we're going to do. We're going to examine these words and we're going to twist them from the original connotation, from our modern connotation, and see what happens. So we're going to try to break some codes. Where do these words lead you and why? So chapter 2. So I said I'm going to go through all of these verses and I'm going to talk about what each verse means. So I'm not going to take a lot of time with this because it's a lot of verses. So just follow me and let's try to work on how to change our thinking. So chapter 2, verse 1. To the angel of the church of Ephesus, these are the words of the one who holds firmly the 7 stars in his right hand, the one who walks among the 7 golden lampstands. So first of all, Ephesus is the sacral chakra, and the sacral chakra just represents our deep-seated personal desires and the things that motivate us, So the one who holds the 7 stars is the soul, we talked about in our last video, and the one who walks among the 7 golden lampstands. The 7 golden lampstands are the chakras. Ephesus is a church, so the church is the chakra. So Ephesus is not a city. It is representing, it's something like a city. So Ephesus is representing what was going on in that city. In Ephesus, there was a lot of fucking going on. There was a lot of brothels and things of that nature going on. So it represents the sacral chakra. They knew what Ephesus meant back then because they was living in the times of Ephesus, so they could, the same way if you said Las Vegas now and you was trying to describe some sinful prostitution shit, you would say, you out here living like it's Las Vegas, nigga. And so now you understand what I'm saying when I say Las Vegas. But say, for instance, 200 years from now and Las Vegas is no longer a city and we're in another country and I mention the word Las Vegas, your ass going to be looking on the map and trying to figure out where Las Vegas is or was. But it was really a symbol for like sinful behavior. So let's keep going. chapter 2, verse 2. I know your deeds and your toil and your patient endurance, and those who you cannot tolerate those who are evil, and have tested and critically appraised those who call themselves apostles and are not, and have found them to be liars and impostors. So, first of all, in this book, there is no external person or people. Everything is internal, because in if you read Revelations, it never talks about John going out and walking in the town or meeting people or talking to people. This is all inner dialogue, and in the inner dialogue is going to give you symbols. So when it brings up those or them or Balaam or Balak or Jezebel or Satan or the devil, we're not talking about anything external. So when we read about those who are evil, they're just talking about the evil things that are within you. And evil is just representing in hypocrisy, or the things in you where you talking shit about people doing shit that you doing yourself. And I can't speak to that. You know what I'm saying? Only you can speak to that. So patient endurance, what you'll see in this chapter, just means observing your thoughts. So if I know your deeds and your toil and your patient endurance, that just means you're observing what motivates you. You're observing what is your base and your effort. So your deeds and your toil and your patient endurance is your observation of that. So if you out here criticizing and feeling a certain type of way about what somebody else is doing, then that just shows that you really a liar and an imposter, because you're not doing what you need to do for yourself. So chapter 2, verse 3. And I know you who are enduring patiently and are bearing up for my name's sake, that you have not grown weary. So, enduring patiently, just another word for observation, and for my name's sake. Namesake is not just name, it just represents the nature. So, once again, so the nature of the soul. So it's not for the namesake. So when you see for my namesake in this chapter or any subsequent chapters, the name just represents the nature of the soul. So when you are observing, enduring patiently, another word for observing, when you are observing your motivations, you are observing why and what you're feeling, then you are dealing with the nature of the soul. Okay, and you have not grown weary. How can you grow weary when you are observing your base natures? You are not simply just acting out on your base natures. You're not like out here just wanting shit and needing shit and desiring shit. You are simply observing why the fuck do you want shit, and that is the nature of the soul. So this is really key. I mean, this can help any and everybody, because a lot of us have desires and things of that nature, but we don't even understand why or what those desires or where those desires come from. So as we break down this chapter, we get to unravel that. So verse 2:4. But I have this charge against you, that you have left your first love. That first love that you have left is the ability to be observant of yourself and observant of your base motives. And so this is the sacral chakra. For instance, you have left your first love. You don't observe your feelings. You simply act on your feelings. So now you hella promiscuous, or just eating, or just looking for shit to satisfy something that you're not doing. What are you not doing to fill these voids? You're not observing what motivates you. You're not observing the base of your emotions. Moving forward, verse 5. So remember the heights from which you have fallen. Once again, remember that you have the ability to be God. And to be God is to be observant, to be omniscient, to look down, to observe yourself. God isn't wagging a finger, your soul isn't wagging a finger, but your soul is observing what's motivating it. And repent. So when you see repent in this chapter, it simply means to change your way of thinking. Repent, change your way of thinking, and do the things you did at first. What you did at first was you were observant of the soul. When you were a child, you You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about 2, 3, 4 years old. You're not looking for your mom or dad to say, you know what I'm saying? Can I play in this wax, dad? You know what I'm saying? Can I can I eat all these marshmallows, dad? No, you dealing with the soul. You being observant of your base motives. And so that's what you did at first. That's your first love. Your soul is your first love. And so dealing with that first love, how do you deal with the soul? By you first deal with the soul by observing those base motives, because you cannot get to the soul if you simply acting on those base motives. And I hope y'all following what I'm trying to say. Thinking that, so otherwise I will visit you and remove your lampstand from its place unless you repent. Just the soul is just saying, you're not going to activate the sacral chakra, and if you don't activate the sacral chakra, then you're not going. The chakras is dead. You might as well just get a second job. You know what I'm saying, and just drive for Uber or some shit, because you don't understand until you change the way that you're thinking and connect to your soul. Then you'll never have that circulating chakra. That lampstand will just be a lampstand. It will not be a candle. You understand? It wouldn't be lit. You understand? Verse 2:7. He who has an ear, let him hear and heed what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcomes, I will grant to eat from the tree of life, which is the paradise in God. So let's break this down real quick. He who has an ear, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. So we know that the churches are not churches. The churches are chakras. So he who has an ear, who is ever able to decode what is said in this book, that's representing as an ear, and let them hear and heed. So use this psychology, use this understanding to start to heal the sacral chakra, because I don't give a fuck what you eat. I don't care about what crystals. I don't care who you pay to tune your chakras and align your chakras. Pay them guys $250 or $2,000. Go to Reiki and align your chakras. It will not matter unless you change the way you actually think. It's like driving around in mud and just getting your car washed every day. But expecting your car to be clean because you got a car wash. Well, wouldn't you think the problem would be for you to stop driving around in mud instead of just trying to just figuring who can wash your car the best? At a certain point, you have to be responsible for your mind, and that's what this chakra work is about. So, the tree of life and the paradise of God just means a place beyond desire. To be in a place that it supersedes desires, needs, and wants. That is the tree of life, and that is paradise in God. So don't think that your conscious mind can conceive what's best for you. The person that can conceive what's best for you is the soul. So it's important that you begin to deal with the soul. And just to change your mind from the external to the internal is a very powerful modality. Chapter 2, verse 9. I know your suffering and your poverty, but you are rich, and how you are blasphemed the standard by those who say that you are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So, I know you're suffering and poverty, but you are rich. This is not saying physical suffering or money suffering or financial poverty. This is talking about emotions and feelings and things of that nature. So if I know you're suffering and your poverty, but you are rich, meaning that you have the ability to access the unlimited divine wisdom. That's what it's meaning by you are rich. But you cannot do that because you are blasphemed and slandered by those who say there are Jews. So Jews is just representing higher authoritative religious people who put on a mask and say, I'm a Jew, but they are not. They are not higher religious authority. Your soul is. They are the synagogue of Satan. That means they are the church of Satan, meaning that they're in the church of illusions. And that's 99.99% of the people out in this world is a part of the synagogue of Satan as far as this book is concerned, because this book is calling the external world illusion, and Satan is just a symbol for illusion. Verse 10. Fear nothing that you are about to suffer. Be aware that the devil is about to throw some of you into prison that you may be tested, and for 10 days you will have tribulation. Be faithful to the point of death, and I will give you the crown of life. So fear nothing that you are about to suffer. Fear nothing that you are about to suffer, because everything that you suffer is a result of your emotions, which is a result of you not understanding what motivates you, by you not dealing with the soul. So be aware that the devil is going to throw some of you into prison. The devil just represents illusion, and the illusion is saying it feels like prison. It's not actually prison. So understanding that is a test. And for 10 days you will have a tribulation. 10, just another symbol for completion. Tribulation, just another word for test. But be faithful to the point of death. So even through this limitation of the physical life, you being able to tap into your soul is key. And understanding that, I will give you the crown of life, meaning that if you can observe your emotions, like we said at the beginning. Being patient is to observe your emotions and not to act on your emotions. If you could do that for 10 days, but not 10 days, but just to complete that cycle, the longer you observe your emotions, the more that those emotions do not stay strong as you think they are. They only strong because you can't observe it and understand where them emotions come from. So understanding that, I will give you the crown of life, meaning that I will activate this crown chakra and you will receive the insight from the soul. Verse 11, he who has an ear, let him hear and heed what the Spirit says to the churches. He who overcomes will not be hurt by the second death. Now, second death, what is the first death? The first death is when you lose your physical life. The second death is when you eliminate that selfish behavior that you have in yourself based upon the ego. When you begin to connect and direct and deal with the soul and listen to the soul's advice. He who has an ear, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. This is all external. This is all happening within you. This is just in the book. You can read the book and decode it for yourself. I'm not making this stuff up. This stuff is in the book. So, verse 12, and to the angel of the church of Pergamum, these are the words of him who has and wields the sharp two-edged sword. Begin to start each church and things of that nature. He'll say something that'll identify the soul. So these are the words, who has and wields the sharp two-edged sword. It's just another word, or these are the words of the soul. So Pergamum is the heart chakra, spiritual love, united in spirit and mind. That's what it means to have spiritual love. When your soul and the way you think is united, that is Pergamum. Verse 13. I know where you dwell, where Satan sits enthroned, yet you are holding fast to my name, holding fast to my nature, and you did not deny my faith even in the days of Antipas, my witness, my faithful one who was killed among you, where Satan dwells. So, I know where you dwell, where Satan sits enthroned. Satan being illusion, you being the reader, I being the soul. The soul knows where you, the reader, dwells. It is in illusion. So the soul knows you deep into this illusion, but yet you are holding fast to the nature of the soul. You realize that you have a soul. You realize that you are not pulled and dragged by this internal world. You know that is something within you that is going to save you and help you. You just have to cultivate it. You have to learn how to change your thinking instead of thinking instead of thinking externally, and start to think internally and start to work with that God within, because the illusion is simply that you are separate from your soul. Everybody thinks that they're humans, but they're truly souls that are having this human existence. So we're caught up in this illusion. This is Satan, my nigga. This is Satan. Where Satan dwells is earth, This earth is here to separate the mind from the soul. So if you get your mind back to the soul, you eliminate Satan. Uh, so Satan's role in this particular text, the Revelation, is to simply separate the aspirant or the one who is trying to access a spiritual journey. It is trying to separate him from the soul. Verse 14. But I have a few things against you, because there are some of you who are holding to the teaching of Balaam, who taught Balak to put a stumbling block before the sons of Israel, to eat the things that have been sacrificed to idols and to commit acts of immorality. So we have to break this down. If you just read it straight and take everything literally, you will miss the point of the text. But I have a few things against you, because you have there some who are holding to the corrupt teaching of Balaam. So Balaam is a symbol for something. Who is Balaam? What is representing? What are we trying to say with Balaam? We are trying to say Balaam is a false teacher. He has a corrupt teaching. So it's not Balaam personally that we're interested in. We're just interested in the symbol that Balaam is putting forth in the text. So Balaam just represents a false teacher who taught Balak. Balak is representing the waste, or if I tell you a bunch of lies and then you go to work tomorrow and you try to put a car together and I'm just telling you how to make paper airplanes, you ain't gonna be shit at work tomorrow. So Balak just represents the teachings of Balaam. So, and this guy put a stumbling block before the sons of Israel. Sons of Israel just denote a relationship, because the son and father, or son and mother, Israel just represents the parent, and son just represents an idea. So it's not actual sons. It's not, Jermaine, Michael, Tito. You know what I'm saying? It's not actual sons. It's a representation of a relationship. Israel being the soul, son being the mind. So the mind uniting with the soul, or the soul and the personality. That's what the sons of Israel represented. So bringing it back, Balaam, the false teacher, taught somebody fake, and now he put a stumbling block that prevented the soul and the personality to come together. And so what are we doing instead of uniting the personality and the soul? We are eating things that have been sacrificed to idols, and we commit acts of immorality. So we eat things that are being sacrificed to idols. So this represents to give power to anything external is idolatry. And so that brings about greed for material things, and the immorality just means the lust. So greed and lust are the false teachings that block the heart chakra. That's what this 214 is all about. But it's all in code. So if you read it literally, you won't understand that greed and lust are the things that block the heart chakra. 2:16. Therefore, repent, or else I am coming to you quickly, and I will make a war and fight against them with the sword of my mouth. So, the soul is within you, causing trouble. It will make war and fight against them. Anything within you that is negative or that you need to change, you will experience that inner conflict. And the them, what is the them that you are fighting against? So, if you want to make a decision, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, go do Somali or some shit like that, and you have something inside of your head like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Do this and do that, and you know what I'm saying? You want to go to the club, or you know what I'm saying? Go to church, or go out to dinner, or take a walk. You know you need to be doing walking. Who the fuck is talking to you, telling you to do all of this shit? I will make a war and fight against them. The them that is telling you to do any and everything that is causing this inner conflict, that is the them that we're talking about in this book. We are not talking about anything external. And that's really key when studying this revelation. It is 22 chapters of all about how to deal with the self. And so it's powerful. Verse 17, who has an ear, let them hear and heed what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcomes, to him I will give some of the hidden manna, and I will give him a white stone with a new name engraved on the stone, which no one knows except the one who receives it. So we are not talking about an actual white stone with a new name engraved on the stone, which no one knows except the one who receives it. That is just code, man. Let's let's do it. I like to do it from the backwards because when we do it backwards, it's real easy to see the code. One who receives it. The one who receives it, that's the one who has an ear. Let him hear. So the one who receives it is the one who has an ear, the one who is able to decode the shit and to really begin to do the work. The one who receives it on the stone which no one knows. So the stone which no one knows, meaning that the information that dealing with the chakras, you begin to tap into shit that nobody else is talking about, nobody else is doing, because you are not taking your cues from the external. Like, hey man, let me put you on to this, man. Let me show you how to do this, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't in forums, you ain't in motherfucking workshops, you're not all sitting together trying to figure it out. No, you are within yourself getting the keys from your soul. That is the stone which no one knows. A white stone with the new name, that is just you. You can't have an old, like I said, name is nature. Your old nature is the human nature. This new nature is the nature connected to the soul. The heart chakra is spiritual love, the uniting of the spirit and the mind, my nigga. Whew. Verse 18. And to the angel, divine messenger of the church in Thyatira. These are the words of the Son of God, who has eyes like a flaming fire and whose feet are like burnished bronze. Like I said, Thyatira is the throat chakra, and these are the thoughts. Not the thoughts, the thoughts. Thoughts. Verse 19, I know your deeds, your love and faith and service and patient endurance, and your last deeds are more numerous and greater than the first. So I know your deeds, your love and faith and service. So these are all the mental higher qualities that you have cultivated. Your deeds, good deeds, your love, good love, your faith, good faith, your service, good service, and your patient endurance. You are observing all of your good deeds, all of your good love, see all of your good faith and all of your good service. Now a lot of y'all niggas ain't there yet, but this is how we just gonna have a conversation. We just gonna imagine that you are having good deeds, good love, good faith, and good service, and you observing your base motives, and you understand that your previous human life ain't worth shit, and now the life that you live in connected to the soul is greater. Verse 20. But I got this against you, that you tolerate the woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess, and she teaches and misleads my bondservants so that they commit immorality and eat food sacrificed to idols. So we've seen this part of this before. Let's go from the back to the top. Commit immorality and eat food sacrificed to idols. We understand that anything to the external world is idolatry. Believing that anything on the external world, is going to make us a better person. So, who is making us feel this way? What is making us feel this way? Because it's not a particular who. Jezebel, the prophetess, these are, once again, symbols like Balaam and Balak. These are not actual people, because actual people would make it stupid. It's like me talking about Kanye West for a people 2,000 years from now and talking about beats or some shit where they don't even listen to music. They just listen to fucking binaurals and, codes and things of that nature. So it's like for them to use people, it is just a simple symbol. So Jezebel just represents a particular thought, that thinking that sensual pleasure leads to happiness. But I have this against you. You tolerate that, thinking that sensual pleasure is going to lead you to happiness. And she teaches and misleads, like the world teaches you and misleads you and your children, that they think, and our parents have taught us that sensual pleasure leads to happiness, and this is what we think. That's Jezebel. So Jezebel ain't the girl in the front row with the thought dress and the high heels twerking for the pastor. That's not Jezebel. Jezebel is the thinking that sensual pleasure leads to happiness. So those who have ears, please let them hear and stop thinking that Jezebel is a person. No, it is an idea that is in you, man, woman, or otherwise. Verse 21, I give her time to repent, but she has no desire to repent of her immorality and refuses to do so. So no matter who I'm talking to, all of my friends and family, the people that call me every day, it don't matter. They don't ever change. No matter how much conscious information and videos I put out, it doesn't matter. People won't repent. Meaning people won't change the way that they think. They still believe that sensual pleasure will lead to happiness. And I don't even necessarily, it creeps up. Like, even in conversations, it just creeps up. And people just act like, it's something that you can think or something that you could do that's going to lead you to happiness and not deal with the inside. She has no desire to repent of her immorality and refuses to do so. People do have no desire. They have no desire to change the way that they think, because sensual pleasure will ultimately lead to happiness. So me saying that, you automatically fight back, will say, but well, no. Well, what else is there? Listen carefully. I will throw her on a bed of sickness, and those who commit adultery with her into great anguish, unless they repent of her deeds. So, listen carefully. I will throw her on a bed of sickness, and those who commit adultery with her into great anguish. So, if you do not want to observe your thoughts and understand the core of what motivates you is not from the soul, is simply for the ego, is simply from Satan, simply from illusion, then you will be into great anguish until you start to change your thoughts. And I will kill her children with pestilence, and all the churches will know that I am he who searches the mind and hearts, and I will give to each one of you according to your deeds. This is the soul speaking. And we are not talking about anything external. So children, what are children? If you're walking down the street and you're walking down the street with your children, what do your children do? They follow you because they don't know where they're going. They need you to lead them. So the children are just representing your thoughts that simply follow those false teachings that you got from Balaam and Balak. They create other thoughts and other thoughts and other thoughts, and they just follow the same path. So it's a particular man that you want. It's a particular financial situation that you want. It's a particular living situation that you want. You want particular amounts of children, particular lifestyle. But no, you must kill all of the children. And with pestilence means thoroughly annihilating them. So the chakras will know that the soul is running this bitch. I am he who searches the minds and hearts, and I will give to each one of you according to your deeds. So you cannot fool me, and I can't fool myself. This is internal. This is not me. This is not me and you. This is just me having a conversation with myself. A conversation that, if you pick up on this conversation, that you should have with yourself, with your soul. But to the rest of you in Thyatira, who do not hold this teaching, who have not explored and known the depths of Satan, as they call them, I place no other burden on you. So this is not to say that all of your thoughts are horrible. It's just saying that you know that you have a soul. You know you have a soul because you've experienced it in this life as a child. You've been there. But if you're able to tap into that idea, then you able to deal with it. But if you stuck in the depths of Satan, the depths of this illusion, it's nothing that can be done at this point. You just better hope you win the lottery or some shit. Verse 26 out of 29. And he who overcomes and he who keeps my deeds until the end, I will give him authority and power over the nations. So this is not talking about anything external. So authority and power over the nations just mean your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors until the very end, meaning mastering all 7 chakras, all 7 churches until the very end. And from and to do this shit completely, that's why we talked about the chakras for 49 days straight, and that's why we continuously talking about the chakras until the very fucking end. Not so people can congratulate us or pat us on our backs. No, because we want to have power over our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. That's it. And he shall shepherd and rule them with the rod of iron, as the earthen pots are broken in pieces, and also have received authority from my Father. So, and he shall shepherd and rule them with the rod of iron. So rod is just simply the spinal column. If you look at a fishing rod, it's like a straight line, like a pole. Like that's the rod. The iron is like if you're cold, women be cold, and I'd be like, girl, what's wrong? You be taking them iron pills? You know what I'm saying? Iron heats up the blood. So just Kundalini rising, rod of iron is just Kundalini rising. And when the Kundalini rises, the earthen pots are broken in pieces, meaning all the humanity, all the physicality is broken in pieces. And we receive this understanding from the Kundalini, the awakened Kundalini. And this is the power of the soul, man. And I will give him the morning star. So at night, I wake up around like 5:30, 4:30, something like that. In between 4:30 and 5:30, wake up, look into the eastern sky. You will see Venus lighting up in the morning star, the brightest star in the darkest of night. So Venus just represents another symbol for the illumination of the darker aspects of life. In the first video, we talked about the soul being the bright light. And so, in the darkest of times, the soul will help you. He who has an ear, let him hear, and he with the Spirit says to the churches. So, continue to listen to this inner guidance that you're having and align these chakras, and you'll be all set. You don't got to worry about anything else, man. It's really dealing with the soul. So, this is a different conversation, man. So, it's a journey, and it's the beginning of a journey. And y'all know how I get on these journeys. I start something, and it start off real weird, but by the end of the journey, it make perfect sense. So, this is another one of these journeys, man. Revelations, chapter 2. We're just dealing with the self and dealing with the science, dealing with the metaphysics of it all. And we're not playing around. We're not trying to be fancy, cute, or none of that shit. We just really want to put out this information and document it before, people act as if they've been talking about it this whole time or some shit. So, that's it, man. Hope y'all have a wonderful evening. I know I'm going to have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week. It's a new moon, so around 1 o'clock, the new moon. So make sure you light your candles and set your intentions, because This is the last new moon for this year. So just really, this is the actual quote unquote time for New Year's resolution. So right now, just take some time and really just imagine, envision the kind of year that you want to have for this 2018, because that's where people get it fucked up with the resolutions. They wait to the first, but they don't do it on the last new moon in 2017. So 1 o'clock, man, 1:30 a.m. You'll probably be sleeping, but if not, you know what I'm saying, just tap into this new moon energy, man. You won't regret it. You won't, you know what I'm saying? The only thing, just don't be lazy. Don't be spiritually lazy. Just put some effort into it. Those who have ears, please hear and heed what your spirit says to you and follow it, man. Don't worry about this external, man. Peace.